This is the most advanced basketball has been ever, and you can tell that from how many players don't know what a backcourt violation is. If you cross the half-court line, go ahead and pass it back to someone behind it. Everyone's doing it. Game 7 of the NBA Finals, 4-on-1 fast break, and you know the Rook taking a 35-footer. Foul as many three-point shooters as you want, because it's a vibe.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Thursday, September 24th. I'm J.E. Skeets, and joining us live, as always, Taz Mellis.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Taz. We got the bearded one, Trey Kirby.
Hey!
Hello.
The international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
And last but not least, making the magic happen, JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. Shout out to everyone joining us live right now on YouTube. We see you guys. Keep your questions and your comments coming for our next Beach Steppin' podcast. Email them in nodunks@theathletic.com. Tweet them in at nodunks_inc. We actually have a few fun questions a little bit later in today's show. But before we get into last night's game, another great game, Tass, you got a special little thing lined up here today on our Instagram account.
Yeah, we've talked about it. Getting ready today for Hoopers Vote Day. Go to hoopersvote.org to register to vote, to see if you're registered to vote. It's an important time, but also today, some fun. Yeah, on our Instagram account, a little bit later, 5 o'clock Eastern, I'll be talking to the Grizzlies' Jaren Jackson Jr. on IG Live. Have some fun with that. That man votes. I love that guy. Also today, some other IG Lives. There's some fun going on with Hoopers Vote. So check this lineup. These are all happening from personal accounts if you're looking for them. So just go to these people's personal accounts. Every hour, 1 o'clock Eastern, the Athletic Zach Harper and Lee Ellis.
Whoa!
I've heard of Zach Harper.
Also known as Talk Hoops, and we will be actually talking hoops and a
yes.
few other things too. So yeah, join us.
Yeah, let's see how much you actually talk about hoops. Look, we'll see about that. 2 Eastern, Lakers reporter Mike Trudell and Hall of Famer James Worthy. 3 Eastern, ESPN's George Sedano and Minnesota Lynx guard Lexi Brown. 4 Eastern, former player Jason Collins with Ben Lyons. 5 Eastern, we already talked about that. And 6 o'clock Eastern, Jerry Ferrara going live by himself. Turtle. Yeah.
Nice.
I knew you guys would love that. So yeah, come join us. Hoopersvote.org is the website to check out if you are registered, because you've never freaking know in today's environment. So check that out and check us out for some fun all over the internet. And obviously you can go to Lee's Twitter account, my Twitter account, or No Dunks Instagram account to find out what we're doing.
All right, Jaren Jackson Jr. a little later today with Tass at the No Dunks Instagram account. Okay, let's get into a fantastic game. Well, I don't know. I guess it was sort of ugly, but a close game once again here in the Eastern Conference Finals. And a real star in this one, which I'm sure we'll break down. The Heat topped the Celtics 112-109. Yes, it was close in the end, but was it really that close? They move a game, though, from making the NBA Finals. The Heat are up 3-1, one victory away from going to the finals. Tass, what's your big takeaway? I have an idea where you're going, but what's your big takeaway from game 4?
For sure. You definitely, you're right that it didn't seem super close at the end, but in the fourth quarter there, I felt, even though the Miami Heat's strength is that they're really hard to guard because, yes, Jimmy Butler gets the quote-unquote star label, but you never know. Goran Dragic could be the leading scorer like he was in their games that they won in games 1 and games 2. It could be Jimmy Butler, or it could be Tyler Herro, who was the star on this night. But I thought the Celtics figured it out. They were doubling him. They were chasing him. And then the Heat brought back Jimmy Butler, even though they were down 1 point. At that point, I thought the Celtics were figuring it out. And then it was the Tyler Herro show the rest of the way. It is phenomenal to watch this 20-year-old guy ball. This guy who's not legally able to drink. This guy who has no need for a razor whatsoever.
He's got a little wispy mustache coming in there.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler's just growing that ugly stash to rub it in Tyler Herro's face that he can't grow anything. He has got no need for a Manscaped 3.0 lawnmower. Absolutely none. he was literally just find him at the top of the key and make it happen. And even the possession that really iced it, it was Jimmy Butler being a decoy and throwing it to a beautiful cut by Tyler Herro. 37 points, the most by a 20-year-old or under since Magic Johnson in the playoffs. Only those two guys have had 37 or more in a playoff game at 20 or under. The guy is just able to create offense unto himself. And I don't know what this guy's ceiling is, but he was literally the number one option for them all the way down the stretch, midway through the third and into the fourth quarter, because there was a lot of clanks in this game from both sides. There was good performances from a lot of players, but Tyler Herro stood out amongst all of them. Amongst all of them, he was the guy that crushed the Celtics' soul in this one, because it sure looked like they were going to finish the job, but they were a little bit more predictable, and the Heat were able to figure them out and turn them over and over and over again, while the Heat remain unpredictable. I mentioned those guys off the top. It's who is going to be the guy tonight. In this series, it's been Dragic mostly, and Butler being a beautiful decoy and creating things. But in this one, and it has been in other games to some degree, but in this one, it was Tyler Herro with a bullet, because he was the guy. It was wild to see this guy just give him the ball and make it happen.
Kevin Arnovitz wrote, in a choppy affair with many ugly possessions, Herro was playing in a different game. I think that's spot on. 14 of 21 from the floor, 5 of 10 from three, 37 points as a 20-year-old. And Lee, maybe the most impressive part, Brown hits a three. The Celtics are trying to stay alive. It's a one-possession game. And who goes to the line? Tyler Herro just swishes a pair of free throws. No big deal, Lee. He's not afraid of the moment. That's the scariest place in the world, you always tell me.
It's the loneliest place in the world, that's for sure. And, considering the game and the stakes and, that they had a chance of ice it. And you said it there. I'm glad you did. Swished both of those, like the most pure shots you could possibly see. I was texting with a friend last night in Australia. I'm like when we were 20 years old, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know anything. And he's out there putting up 37 points on an incredible defense. Jaylen Brown, he was shaking Jaylen Brown last night, and he hit the 5 threes. But my favorite basket he hit was that one where he went inside. Jayson Tatum was there, and he basically reversed layup off the backboard so calmly, so smoothly. It's like, who's the Benjamin Button out there? He must be someone else from a different era who's just aged backwards, because he plays like a veteran of like 10 or 15 years out there. Sure. Doesn't panic, gets to his spots, doesn't force things. I was just amazed at how he played last night. Again, going against an incredible defense who were like, okay, this guy's locked in. We have to get to him too last night. They weren't giving him any room, but he was going there. And then a couple of times when he was kind of trapped or the defense was on him, make a nice pass, not selfish, not looking to try to just have a huge night, just came in the offense. And to get the win after all that was incredible. Now, if you say to someone, hey, a 20-year-old kid scored 37 points and they won a game, you would think that's not a solid strategy going forward, but it certainly worked last night when not a lot of other players on the Heat really had it going for the entire game. But it was one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen. And then after the game, again, he's calm and composed there talking to Rachel. It's like, this guy has got so much maturity. It's remarkable to watch. Yeah, but you talked about that's maybe not the strategy, a 20-year-old going for 37. Like, you're going to be able to replicate that. But I think Ziller's right. Ghostface Ziller, he said, what was fluky about that performance that Herro put up? Nothing. Honestly, he wasn't hitting insane shots. He wasn't getting lucky bounces. He had one that rolled in for him, sure. But, that was in the flow. He was giving everybody buckets last night. You said Kemba, he was cooking. Jalen switched on him. He had that nice little semi-transition, hesitation dribble on Tatum and the up and under, that smooth up and under that you talked about, Lee. Trey, he could do this again. That's not the crazy part. This is basically Devin Booker playing on a playoff team. That's how
Give me Tyler Herro over Devin Booker.
Oh, I love that.
Today. He's
Amazing.
doing it in the playoffs as a rookie. He doesn't look like a rookie. Maybe it's because he had 4 months off. So we're technically looking at his second season. I don't know, but it's super impressive. And you're right, Skeet. It's probably not super fluky because Herro's most likely still not going to be getting the number one defender from the Celtics. But when he got Marcus Smart on him late in the fourth quarter, dropped a 27-footer right in his face. It really didn't matter because he was in such a flow. And I don't know, it just seems like he's obviously so confident, and the rest of the players on the team have so much confidence in him. It looks like he's taken parts of Goran Dragic's game and added it to his game. It looks like he's taken parts of Jimmy Butler's game and added it to his game. The guy is technically the fourth option maybe on the Heat, but if he can go for 37 any night, you're in trouble. The Celtics really haven't been able to string together 4 quarters of good basketball, and like Tass is saying, it feels like the Heat could have a different leading scorer every single game out there. I guess Dragic has led the team in scoring in the first couple of games, but they've had 3 different leading scorers. And, Jimmy Butler has been good enough to the point where he doesn't have to do it all. He had a good game, I thought, last night. He had 17 through 3 quarters, which I thought was big, keeping the Heat close and keeping them in the lead rather than having to try and pour it on all at the end there. So just an incredible team performance. The Heat have looked great. And if Herro's going to be playing like this, if they're going to be playing like they got 4 All-Stars out there, they have a very realistic shot of winning the championship.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's doing everything. Because it was like early on, it was like dribble handoffs in the second quarter there, just splashing jumpers in, Time Lord's face. Okay, so easy for him. Then when Walker was on him, he attacked him a couple times. That little layup high off the glass, had the gorgeous Euro step on him as well. Even in the corner, kicked out to him. Here comes Tatum screaming at him. Okay, little pump fake. He screams by, one little dribble, step into it, splash. You said about we talked about the one in on him, the bring the D3 in Smart's eye. And then that one, he's the guy that has it going on the night when no one else is really all that smooth. I know Tatum finally did get it going in the second half. Instead of going so like, here's Tyler, go to work, kid. Yeah, it's him flashing through the lane. You said it there, Taff, with Butler, as it should be in his hands, but he's still moving this kid around and then finishes with the gorgeous left. And that was obviously a big, big bucket. I have a question about
that. Let me just jump in on that. That was a killer for me because I thought the Celtics didn't defend that cut very well because Bam Adebayo's arm was hanging on that position. If you remember at the end, he basically hyperextended his elbow or something, whatever happened. I didn't see a report as to what happened, but Jaylen Brown was guarding him on the perimeter and he could have just left him to go help out on the cut. But sometimes these Celtics just kind of hang their heads a little bit and they just think, oh, this thing is over. But it wasn't. They're just, their effort level isn't 1,000,000,000% all the time. So that possession just irked me a little bit, even though Jaylen Brown was real good in this game and he was giving it his all, and Tyler Herro was doing the slinky shakes. I never want Tyler Herro to get any thicker, any bigger, because it just seems he's probably one of those body frames that can't get any bigger. Lee, you tell me, because you can read him from 5 billion miles away. But I just think he looks so cool in the way he can, slink here and slink there. It's got a little KD-ish to it, but I don't know if it'll slow him down. But I like my Tyler Herro skinny. That's all I'm trying to say. I think that helps his game.
You brought up that defensive possession from the Celtics. What about the time where it ended in the Dragic wide open 3? What were the Celtics doing on that one? That was like a minute and a half to go is when Dragic hit that 3. That was like really, really, truly iced the game. They blitzed. Yeah, they threw this weird blitz super high up at the ball handler. And the Heat, credit to them, nice ball movement. Butler to Bam. I think it went to Iguodala and then finally to Dragic. But there wasn't anyone close to Goran Dragic for the corner 3. It's like, it was just a weird decision. I don't know if signals got mixed up, what the game plan was on that possession. Maybe that was like, hey, let's try and shock them with blitzing them high, but Heat were ready for it. And that was, you can't ask for an easier shot there, Lee, in the corner from Dragic.
No, absolutely. And that came after a Boston 3 at the other end, which cut it back to 4 points. So they were back right in that game. That was a crucial miscommunication there on defense. But yeah, Andre Iguodala's pass there was great because he was kind of in the paint where it's like, you've got a high percentage look here, you can go up, but he's
Iguodala's not going to shoot it, man.
No.
The last thing that guy wants to do.
I know, he's been struggling badly. He can't hit anything, but to find Dragic in the corner and then to knock it down was huge. And, it's funny, like Jimmy Butler, he had a good game statistically, and he hit a big basket late, and then he hit a lot of free throws as well late. But there were other times again where he still looks like he's hesitating. He airballed one from the paint last night, like left it short, and
shot a 12-footer about 10 feet.
Yeah,
but right.
I know. But then you see 24 points and 9 rebounds, 8 for 20 from the field, and it's like, maybe he was better than I thought, but I just didn't feel he had that mojo going either again last night. He's getting a lot of defensive attention. He drove inside a couple of times to get some baskets, but it just feels like something's going on with him at the moment. And I'm sort of thinking like when I looked at the box score to check this morning, I thought he was going to have like 9 points and 6 rebounds. I'm like, oh wow, he had much more than I thought. So, right. but again, crucial plays. He hit that step back in the paint, which was huge for his team. But prior to that, there was a couple of times it was like he does not want to shoot that ball sometimes, and that's a little bit of a concern. But again, the Heat are 3-1 up, so they've still got time to correct things here. But I'm not sure what to make of him at the moment.
What did you guys think of Jayson Tatum's weird game with the offer in the first half, and then obviously started hitting some shots? I mean, we saw a lot of zone defense again from the Heat, and Celtics were struggling with it for a good chunk of it, and then finally did start to hit some shots, and he was pretty instrumental there in the third quarter. Tass, why don't you start? Like, what do you think about not only the Celtics and the way they played the zone, but Tatum specifically?
I just find it amazing watching a basketball game with all my Twitter friends around the world. We watched the first half together. He doesn't score a point. And everyone in the world is using the excuse, oh, he's hurt, doesn't look right. Yeah, look at us body language doctors. And then, boom, right in the second half, he just plays basketball to his capabilities again and pots 28. I got no answer. I just was he stiff in the first half? I have no answer. It was a great sign, the fact that they were in it at halftime. They're down 1, I do believe. With him not scoring, I got no answer other than to echo. Oh, it was down. They're down 6.
They were down 10. Sorry, 6 was it?
Yeah. They did get down, but for them to be that close, I got nothing other to say. I'm just going to echo all my Twitter friends and say he was injured in the first half, but somehow gave him the energy.
Uninjured. That's what happened.
Good job. Training staff. There's nothing else to say. I thought he was playing good defense as well in the first half. I think part of Jimmy Butler's reluctance is because he got blocked at one time by Tatum. He doesn't want to drive into Tatum. Butler's, I think, reluctance has stretched out this entire series. There's something going on where he just doesn't feel entirely right. Even then, when he went to the free throw line at the end there, his first pair of free throws, he kind of did a Kawhi Leonard playoff shot with 3 bounces on the rim, tick, 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 and then it went down. He just doesn't feel right with the ball in his hands. And he likes to turn it over, and then he's done it twice. He just doesn't catch the ball at the end of games in this series. Twice. Man, and then at the other end, swipe beautifully on whoever because he's that great a defender. There's no explanation for any of this. Jimmy's not right. Brad Stevens tries to ice him. That's great. I think it's just playoff stuff going on. That's my answer for Tatum. I got nothing.
Yeah, the Celtics, honestly, they just look shaky to me. 7 turnovers in the fourth quarter. They didn't have enough spirit, I thought, in the first half. The attention to detail is there. It doesn't look like they really have a plan against the zone. They were great in game 3, kind of attacking right away, but it was just more tentative again in game 4. And like I said, they've really struggled to string together an entire 48 minutes of good basketball here, and it just feels like they're being a little overwhelmed. I don't know exactly what it is. Tatum was great during the regular season. He was pretty good in the first couple of rounds of the playoffs, but he hasn't been able to bring it for 48 minutes so far in this series, and if he isn't being the best player for the Celtics, it's tough for them.
Yeah, I know Tyler Herro is no doubt the story from Game 4, but when you look at the breakdown and you look at the box score in this, Boston 19 turnovers to Miami's 8. I mean, that's huge in a game that ultimately was pretty close. They were really sloppy with it at times, for sure, and they didn't. Yeah, that was I don't know. They're down 3-1. I mean, we've seen teams come back from 3-1 pretty recently here, so maybe it's not over, but it did have the vibe to a lot of people because these teams are so closely competitive that the Celtics needed that one. I mean, they needed to make this a best of 3. And now, like I said, Miami's 1 win away from going to the finals. 12th time Miami's been up 3-1 in their history, and they've never given up a 3-1 lead.
They've lost by 3, 5, and 3 points. So, I mean, Boston, if they look back at this series and ultimately lose it, it's really coming down to a couple of possessions in these last couple of games there. You know, talk about Jimmy Butler. His defense was incredible, actually, on Kemba Walker there and on Jayson Tatum late. That crazy call that somehow was a jump ball after it clearly came off Tatum, which was originally called a foul, didn't make sense. And then he got Kemba, who got 3 shots out of it. So, you know, Jimmy, like, he gets the foul called on the second one, and the Celtics get the possession on the first one. But that point, even though I said before he didn't look like he was sort of locked into this game, in those crucial moments, he was still playing incredible defense for his team. And, the Celtics, again, like I say, 2 games they've lost by 3 and 1 by 5. I mean, it's been incredibly close, and they won their only game by 11. So what's that make it? But they must be even on points.
Yeah.
Wow, what a crazy thing when they're down 3-1.
So we don't know really any sort of status on Bam as of recording this, right? You guys talked about it though. I mean, yeah, the guy's arm was looked like it was hanging off his body there, but it was strange. It was like, was it his finger at first? Was it the wrist? Was it the elbow? Was it the shoulder? Was it everything? Until we know for sure whether or not he's playing and at what percentage of his level of capabilities he's going to be playing at, it's tough to say. But if there's no Bam, let's just hypothetically say Bam doesn't play for at least game 5. Can the Celtics do this? He's so instrumental to the Heat's success, and we sort of really talked about him here, but he had another great game, obviously making things happen as sort of their fulcrum there, and their heart and soul, as Jimmy calls them. Could the Celtics do this if there's no Bam? I mean, that's a game changer, right, Taz?
Yeah, I think the Celtics could. They're that close. I think really what the Celtics need is a Bam. They need a 5 to be able to throw the ball to in the middle of the paint, because that's what they're trying to do a lot of the time with that zone. But I think it's just a little bit foreign for Jayson Tatum to get the ball at the nail or Marcus Smart to get the ball at the nail. It just doesn't happen every single possession. This zone has thrown them off a little bit. I know Nick Nurse went to it a ton. But this Miami Heat's just this team is just a little bit better. I think they're
a little bit bigger too at the front of that zone.
Oh, yeah,
those are a lot bigger guys in Jimmy and Crowder and Iguodala than Raptors guards up at the front of that zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the story. The story really, it's more fun to talk about Tyler Herro, but the story really is 7 turnovers in the fourth quarter for a team. It's just really tough to win, and that's all Eric Spoelstra's defense out there. Just encouraging guys to get out on the perimeter and forcing them out there, and they kind of hung out there a little bit. They had some good possessions in the fourth quarter, but then they got a little stagnant, a little predictable. Spoelstra deserves a ton of credit for that. Yeah, they need a center really that can do what Bam does, because Bam was enormous in this game. He was so good. They can give the ball to anybody. While the Celtics, they tried to kind of do what the Raptors did and say, Daniel Tice, you know what? This isn't working. We're going to put you on the bench and we're going to play our 5 best guys. And that's Gordon Hayward coming off the bench. And then that only lasted a couple minutes because they just weren't big enough. They were just going to get destroyed on the board. So huge credit to Eric Spoelstra. And I just wanted to mention one other thing that he did. Herro, the story, because he's way more fun to talk about, but a little thing like Andre Iguodala playing the last 15 minutes of this game when, he looks like a guy that he really just didn't look like himself this season. But then going into the playoffs, Eric Spoelstra's he's playing chess. He played Andre Iguodala every fourth quarter minute possible in that Indiana series, the first series of this postseason. Every minute, all 48 minutes, because they swept the Pacers. Iguodala was in there. He knew that Iguodala could be really important, and Iguodala was out there. Yeah, you said, Skeets, he doesn't want to shoot, but he's going to make the right play.
But he's going to give you great defense, and he's a playmaker. He's still a fantastic playmaker with all the years of experience playing with all the shooters in Golden State. No, that's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. Hell, I mean, is this chess playing Solomon Hill there from Eric Spoelstra? That's 4D chess, I guess.
Solomon Hill's the kind of guy when he shows up in a game, you're going to get texts from friends saying, "Who is that?"
Yeah, he's got a look to him.
No doubt, a sloppy look. Looks like my man has been in the bubble for a long time. But I think Bam's going to play. He said it was nothing major. He's not having an MRI or anything. And if he plays, yeah, exactly. He said my arm took a wrong turn. You don't want that happening to your arm or your shoulder, whatever it was. But I think he's going to play. And, just the fact of going to his own, I think it throws the Celtics off so much. It forces Tatum to be a little bit of a playmaker, which he's improved in that, but it's not his strength. And I think it really hurts Kemba Walker, because he is definitely not like a catch and shoot player. Right. He's not the kind of guy you want to kick out and then he's pulling for 3. He's used to having the ball in his hands, coming around a screen, maybe popping a 3 there or working up to his mid-range jumper. It's tough for him to try and penetrate past Butler and Iguodala, or sometimes it's Crowder up there, guys who are way bigger than him. Then you got Bam standing right in front of his face. That's a lot of people just standing around a guy who's not so big overall. Not to mention, Herro's 6'6", right? Like, he's got some length to him too. There's so much length on the Heat that it really disrupts Kemba. And when Kemba and Tatum are struggling, that's not great.
I I thought Robert Williams getting some minutes was actually not a bad idea there from Brad Stevens, because athletically he was very good against the Raptors in that series, and he's a little bit more athletic than Tice and Cantor as well. So I was surprised that we didn't see him actually in the second half a little bit more too, because he can contest those rebounds a little bit better with Bam Adebayo, I think. So I wonder if Brad Stevens perhaps gives him a little bit more minutes. I mean, he's a little unreliable, of course, on the offensive end, but someone who's just long and athletic just makes it just a touch harder than it does for Daniel Tice, who tries hard, but Bam can just out-jump him. So I wonder if that's an adjustment we'll see from Brad Stevens going forward, because I thought as well for the Celtics, they got enough good looks against that zone defense last night that if they knock those in, it's a different game.
Yes, that's what it happens when it comes to the zone. You just got to hit shots. You're going to get looks that you have to knock them down. Yeah, you
saw Hayward there a couple of times at the top. You throw the ball to him and then just move the ball around, and it was smart. I think he finished 1 for 8. He had a bad shooting game, but he had 11 assists. He was still contributing. And Brown and Tatum, I mean, they had looks. So I don't think the actual zone defense last night worked as effectively as the Heat wanted in terms of them not getting good looks. They just couldn't knock them down, Boston. So, that's why this series, even though it's 3-1, I don't think it's like a wash in game 5. The Celtics will still feel pretty confident because they've been good enough, they've been close enough. They just need to tidy a few things up. But it was the last night's game didn't have a lot of juice to it. I didn't think it just I don't know. Maybe it was because they had the longer break. Legs were a bit heavy. I don't know.
Maybe
there's a lot of missed shots for sure.
Yeah. It wasn't pretty. Like I said, I mean, Herro was the lone diamond within that muck there of that game last night. There was a lot of ugly possessions, and that again, credit to the defense. They're mucking it up. They're making it difficult. But guys were just really struggling to hit shots until again Tatum got it going in the second half when he started stringing together some threes there, which made things a little bit more interesting. And the final score of this looks a lot closer than it is, if we're being honest, right? I mean, like there were some turnovers, the Jimmy Butler one you said, and they were still hit, like Brown hit the 3 in the corner and stuff like that. Like they were holding on. But didn't even get a chance at the end, of course, with 1 second left, and you got to gun it down there and try and hope for like a Christian Laettner, but it's got to be a 3. Didn't even get a shot off on that one. So
let me ask you a question about that, because we see it all the time when there are no timeouts left, but you're down by 3, you've got a second. Do you think it's better to try and chuck the ball down to the other 3-point line? Because it feels like it gets intercepted every single time. Would you rather just inbound it to a guy to take a 3/4 court 3-pointer?
I think you can generally even get a half court shot.
Sure.
Because they're playing so far back. 100% agree with you, Trey. These guys are that good at it too, that it's not going to be a brutal look, because I guess they're hoping for a lot of the times when they gun it down there to the 3-point line is like, they're hoping a foul, occurs. Maybe though that was a perfect one last night. Like even if a foul called on Jimmy, it's like still it's only 2 shots, right? It's not 3. I'm with you. I've thought about a ton about that too. I'd rather my guy on the run just catch it and step into a half court shot. Yeah, I think also it's more of a chance to go in half the time than some of those gun it down and then turn around. Yeah,
because when it goes up, you have to catch it, go down, and then reshoot, relaunch. Whereas if you just sort of throw it out and someone can catch it and flick it at the rim, you've got a way better chance of it going in, I think. So, I agree. I thought that was a little bit strange, because you see at the end of quarters and halves, when guys just wait for the clock to run out when they throw it, but they get so much closer. They get such a better look at the ball than having to come down and then throw it up over a couple of defenders usually. So, that's weird.
Like when there's more, I get it when there's maybe 5-6 seconds, but 1 second, I just loop it to a screaming Kemba or a screaming Tatum to around half court, like you're sort of saying, Trey, and then hope my chances that just he catches it on the fly and lets it go, and maybe your prayers are answered. Did Kyle Lowry hit one of those once? And
that was against Miami.
Good point.
It was against the Heat. Yeah, right.
LeBron's famous one against the Wizards. 3-point turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's a few. I think if there's a crazy man or woman who broke down the numbers, I think you would get a couple bombs that actually do go in.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, truthfully, do what they started to figure out in football with the Hail Mary to the end zone. I love the idea of throw it up there, have your most athletic guy go up and just try and direct hip it to another guy. You know what I mean? Don't even again, drill. It's tough with the timing and all that. Yeah, but a bit of a tip drill. Okay, Tatum, jump up there and don't worry about catching it, coming down, shooting it. Tip it to Kemba, who's going to be to your right or left, and maybe you have a better look there. I mean, that's so easy to say. I get it. Because you need to throw like a 60-foot bomb, have your guy get up above other guys, tip it to the other guy who catches it in rhythm and shoots. But yeah, it's not a lot of time to do things with. And they were out of timeout. So what are you going to do anyway? And again, it wasn't really all that close. It was close, but it wasn't really all that close. The Heat sort of had command, and they were knocking down free throws, Lee. That's a huge part, obviously, even if some of them were not as pretty as Herro's switches there. That one Jimmy was really crazy.
Yeah, if you remember Dirk Nowitzki against the Thunder back in 2011, he had, I think, 23 of 24 from the free throw line one day in Game 5 or something, and basically they were all swishes. They were just beautiful. Tyler Herro.
I don't remember that. No, I'm sorry.
I remember it because that's exactly what I thought last night. Because I thought Tyler Herro at some point is going to show his age here, where he's going to be nervous. Because I think it was Tatum was kind of trying to talk a little trash to him there too, but just before he shot them, and then he just went. I was like, oh, man. And I like the after-game interview when Rachel Nichols asked him about being a bucket. He said he was a bucket in high school. Yeah. And then some people were putting up some clips of him in he must have been like Wilt Chamberlain going up against kids in high school, like to go out there at this age and doing that on the big stage against grown men in the NBA. And he's playing high school against kids who are like smaller than him. It's like, he must have just been like the great. How did he slip so far? Like, how did he not show up? I don't know, man. I'm just
Kentucky, man. They don't let their guards do anything. Same thing happened to Devin Booker, right? They're like, that guy's just a 3-point shooter. Oh wait, he can actually do everything you need to do with a basketball.
It's incredible, man. I can't believe I'm so envious of a 20-year-old kid.
You called him Benjamin Button. He looks what I mean. Super young right now, which would mean he's like 80 years old.
Well, that's what I mean. He must actually be like a player, like I don't know, from like John Havlicek or someone back in the day.
And played for the Celtics, that dynasty.
He must have. Because when have we ever seen a kid that young? I mean, remember when LeBron had that big game against the Pistons in 2007? LeBron then was like 22 or something, and he'd been in the league 4 years, and it was kind of like we'd seen enough to expect something like that from LeBron. Like
Derrick Rose had a game in his rookie year there against the Celtics, was it not?
That was his playoff rookie debut, though. I don't think that was his rookie season, was it?
He was super young, though. Yeah.
That was 2009, so that was his rookie year.
Oh, it was it? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, he had 36 points. I remember that. That was a great game too. But
the magician Magic. You were in 1980. You were 45 years old. You must remember Magic Johnson.
But again,
he scored 40.
Those two people were the number one picks in the draft.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like not it's a surprise to still see a guy perform at that level. But to see someone like Tyler Herro, who you're just like, man, this guy, like no one sort of expected him to do.
He didn't even make the all-rookie first team there. Yeah. Heard Van Gundy all upset about that. No, I mean, not how they play, but because we are older, I remember Dwayne Wade's rookie playoff run. And he had some duds in the two series. I think he played in there against Hornets and Pacers, if I remember correctly, in his rookie season. But you see those like, wow, rookie, this is special. Like this guy is taking over instances, fourth quarters for them, getting them some victories. And it was like special stuff. Now he's still a high pick. So maybe it's a little bit more, not as shocking that this guy is taken later in the lottery in Tyler Herro, but still it is cool. Like I kept thinking of I remember those moments still in my head. I was a lot younger. And now in theory, there are young kids watching this going, wow, this Tyler Herro kid is something special. And again, I'm with Ziller. This does not feel fluky what he's doing at all. I mean, he's been doing this for a good chunk of the bubble, chunk of the playoffs. And this was next level. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's going to go for 37 in Game 5, but I don't think it's far-fetched to easily see another 20, a 25-point game in this kid moving forward, either in the Eastern Conference Finals or the Finals, right?
Yeah, it seems to be he and Duncan Robinson are kind of alternating big performances because Duncan had a stinker last night, but he'll probably come back with 6 threes in Game 5 now. So,
but that's a huge difference, right? Duncan, it's just going to be threes.
Right.
I mean, that's it. But this is the beauty here. This is not just threes here from this kid. He's playmaking. He's averaging nearly 8 rebounds per game in this series too. I mean, he's not afraid to get in there. Trey said it. Yes, he's slight. He's got the Skeets frame, Tass, but he's tall and he's not afraid to mix it up, and he goes and gets it. I mean, that's impressive to me as well. The package of this kid's game already at 20 is special stuff here. I mean, he'd have found a gem, I think, and he just fits with this culture. You see how pumped those guys were after the game for Herro, like Goran Dragic squealing like a little girl, like giving him a rub of his head.
Hey, Tyler!
Yeah, and same with Bam. Jimmy. They were really, really they're they're rooting for this kid. And I'm sure they've put him through hell and the rookie hazing and all that and stuff. So, it's like a little brother to them. I get that, but it was just pretty cool to see that.
I'm old enough to remember when Jimmy Butler was a bad locker room influence and you didn't want him around young players. And now he's lifting this young guy up, making him an all-star in front of our very eyes. Skeets, though, you do have the Tyler Herro frame, but I notice you look a lot older than him. Are you actually Tyler Herro as a 6-year-old boy?
Wow. Yeah. Tyler, come talk to me. I'll tell you how to grow a beard in 20 years. That's still not that great. But
that's good, man.
Yeah, it's coming. I'm starting to take care of it a little bit more. I never got that beard oil from you, Trey. I guess I haven't seen you in a long time.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you got to ship that over to me.
I'll mail it.
Anything to add to this one? Can the Celtics do this? Sounds like, Lee, you sort of believe that it's not over despite being down 3-1. That's going to be pretty instrumental, but what do you think?
Oh, I think, we've seen it in the bubble as well. Again, the Celtics don't have to go to Miami and try to win a game now. The games are all on those neutral surfaces. And again, I don't think they've played super badly. I thought they weren't their best last night. But I think they have a strategy that can work against Miami. And again, you lose 3 games by 5 points or less. You're not that far behind that team. So I think the Celtics realize that it's still a series anyway. I don't think Miami have just completely annihilated them. And
right.
The Celtics, they've come this far. They're not going to just quit by any means. They're going to fight. So I think it's still alive. I think the series is still alive.
You reminded me something when you said the neutral court. I think it was the Windhorse podcast this morning. I heard them talking about, could Tyler Herro have done this in a normal season? Like as a rookie, 20-year-old. Now that would have been a home game, but could he do something like this, on the road? Because we've removed all that. It's a great point. There isn't. But they say, and I sort of agree with them, if any rookie or if any young kid you could look at and go, oh, yeah, they could do that in front of, 20,000 screaming fans, telling them they suck, it would be him, oddly enough, because of that confidence and that swagger. So it's, I guess I think he could do it, on the road, go for a 30-plus point game in a playoff game. But it is a fair point. This is just a strange environment. And some guys, as we've seen, have flourished in it. I don't know. What do you think, Trey?
There's definitely something to the idea of not having 20,000 people screaming at you every time you catch the ball. And I think that's gotta play a factor in seeing, huge games from Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell, all of these younger guys who are surpassing what we would have expected from young guys in the playoffs. But like you're saying, Herro's got the confidence to be able to make these plays if there's 0 people in the stands and if there's 1 million people in the stands. I don't know if he would necessarily be affected. I'm sure it would be somewhat, right? He maybe doesn't have 37, maybe only has 35, an off night, something like that. But I think he could do it. There's definitely something different about being in the bubble that we're seeing. Probably the Heat aren't making it to the finals if we're not playing in the bubble, but that's the way it's going right now, so you got to embrace it.
Anything else to add, Tass, before we move on?
No. I have enjoyed this conversation, but I'm ready to move on.
All right, let's take a quick break then to hear from our sponsors.
Hey, guys. So,
hey, JD.
Hey, how's it going? Great talk. Really enjoying it. Really enjoy pondering how the bubble will affect these young guys and their entire career when you think about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of kids, I have one. And he's in grade 9. Sorry. The 9th grade, as they say here in the United States. And he's been assigned his first real essay, 32 paragraphs. Back in my day, we were assigned essays by the word. 3,000 words due on Friday. Oh, my God, kill me now. Anyway, this is what's going to happen. When he finishes it, he's going to go to Rachel. And he's going to say, I'm done my essay. And she's going to say, give it to your father to read. Oh, my God. Don't get me wrong. I love my son. But the last thing I want to do is plow through his first attempt at a 32-paragraph essay, which I guarantee will be the first draft. There's no way he's even going to read it once before giving it to me. So you better believe that thing's going straight into Grammarly before I even lay eyes on it. Grammarly is the digital writing tool you can always rely on to get your message across clearly and effectively. And we've got the premium version, which features clarity suggestions. Those sentences are going to be clear, concise, and crisp, like cutting out unnecessary words. This essay is going to be 25 paragraphs by the time Grammarly's done with it.
Oh, he's going to
fail. He's going to go, damn it, I got to go write more. Grammarly is the digital writing assistant that helps more than 20 million people put their best words forward. Want deeper insights on your writing? Grammarly Premium gives you advanced feedback on tone, word choice, punctuation, and more. Get 20% off Grammarly Premium when you sign up at Grammarly.com/NoDunks. That's 20% off Grammarly Premium at Grammarly.com/NoDunks. GRAMMARLY.com/NoDunks.
So you're a student and you use Grammarly. Cheating or no? I guess not, because it's like a tool to help you learn, right?
Yeah. It's got a plagiarism thing where you can put your
that is
your
pretty cool.
essay in and find out if you play. How mad would you be if
you hadn't
wrote
done
it and then it's like, oh, I'm sorry, this is plagiarized.
Yeah, that would be
maybe
tough.
not start with Webster's Dictionary defines science as blah blah blah.
What's the essay about? Do you even know?
It's something to do with drama. I don't know.
Okay.
He told me, but it went. I just glazed right over, so I'm not looking forward to reading it, I'll tell you that.
Well, at least it's only 32 paragraphs. How long does 32 paragraphs take to read? I don't even know.
Yeah, I've never heard of an assignment by the paragraph either.
It's either page or words.
Word,
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the new thing kids are doing nowadays.
Yeah. Well, Jackson, when he writes something, when I say, "Hey, write me a 3-page story," he picks like the biggest, most like calligraphy font. It's like
classic move.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, respect, right?
Yeah.
You gotta respect that move.
Double space.
Yeah.
Double line.
Triple space. Oh, come on.
Sure. Why not? Why not? Yeah, bump the font up a little bit. Maybe even get a little sneaky. Bring the margins in a little bit.
Margin work.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know the margin work. He knows the tricks.
First thing you do when you open up that document, Courier New. That's a wide font.
You don't want that Tyler Herro font. You don't want the J.E. Stevens font. You want the fat ice hockey font. All right.
You want a Kyle Lowry boost.
Yeah,
font.
that's right.
Wide.
I want my E's to be extra boosy. All right. Great stuff. Let's hit the beach for a few questions. Yeah, a few little beach questions here. Get us in the mood. First one, Dunkaroos, Dinkerinos, and Dumperonis. Dion Waiters. That's good. Dion Waiters is currently a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. He's barely played in the playoffs and has scored 10 total points. Lest we forget, this is the same season he was unceremoniously booted off the Heat for eating weed gummies and posting boat pics. If the Lakers win the title this year, Waiters will nonetheless receive a ring. Who are some of your favorite unlikely members of championship teams? That's from Jeff Beal in Bloomington, Illinois. I'll get us started because I always think of this guy and I'm like, God, that guy won a title and he had a really weird short career. Adam Morrison winning a title on the 09-10 Lakers. I mean, he's on that team. You know, he's a number 3 pick. What was he, like 06-07 draft? He played for the Bobcats. Then he got injured, and then it was like sort of over from there, but he bounced around a little bit. But he played in 2 playoff games. I checked. Played in blowout wins for either team in the first round versus OKC for the Lakers. Scored 8 points. So he's very close to Dion Waiters, but I'm just always like, that guy, the stash. We're talking about that wispy stash on Tyler Herro.
Yeah.
Well, how about the stash on Morrison?
Didn't
that was
he
his
go?
nickname.
He got 2.
Yeah, he went back to back. I think
He
with
went
the Lakers.
back to back.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's even
Yeah.
crazier.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me that. I forgot about it. He did? He went back to back?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
He
sure
was on
he
the
did.
my
team.
God. I
He
know
didn't
he was
play
on-
in the playoffs, but
Okay.
Yeah.
So did he get a ring? He probably did, I guess.
yeah, he was on the team all the way there. He was
Okay.
on the end of the bench.
Right.
and
So he only played in the
over-
playoffs the 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
he
funny
was in
thing
his
about-
oversized suit for sure for every game on the bench. But it's crazy what happened to Adam Morrison, how he went from number 3 pick and a very short career. Yeah.
The funny thing about Dion Waiters is, if it's a Lakers Heat final, he'll win a ring either way, won't he? Because if the Heat win,
Right.
you know, he played on their team during the season, and then obviously if the Lakers win, he gets one anyway. So he's incredible
laughing.
stuff.
Question.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
laughing. Yeah. That's a good point.
I got a couple as well from the 07-08 team. Brian Scalibrini. Now, you know, he played on that team during the season. He did not play in the playoffs that season. And if you remember, he had a pretty funny post-game interview after they won the championship, sort of just talking trash about, you know, what the team went through and what he did and how hard he worked. And it's like, you know, he's a role player, but he didn't get a minute at all
right
in the playoffs. And but it was kind of like, I think Scalibrini knew that, he was kind of laughed at a bit and picked on, so he was just getting his shots back in at everyone else, saying, listen, man, I'm a champion on an NBA team. That's all that counts, and I understand my role. So, respect to him for that.
Respect to him for that.
I always think of Nick Young when it comes to this story, because he was, a player that people made fun of at the beginning of his career with the Washington Wizards. He was doing the cinnamon challenge with JaVale McGee for a few years. And then he went to the Lakers and he took that shot from up top and he turned around and it rattled out because he thought it was going down. So he was, a bit of a punchline, especially on the internet. But he was not a punchline when it came to the Warriors run in 2018. He played for that team. He played 80 games during the regular season. And, he was definitely a role player off the bench. But I think he was signed in sort of a similar role to Adam Morrison, that this guy can get hot and score in bunches. And he hit some shots for that playoff team for the Warriors. So Nick Young, he did it. I was surprised that he didn't get picked up for the bubble this season, because he's not an old man by any means. He's 35. That's kind of old now. But
yeah, it blew my mind. Adam Morrison's only 36.
Wow.
Right? Oh my God. I thought he was way older than that. Okay. Yeah.
He's he's a reverse Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
Way older.
Yeah. What do you got, Trey?
I immediately think of a random player on a championship team. I immediately think of the 2006 Heat, who had Jayson Williams starting as their point guard for a long time. Then he showed up at the White House wearing a Ho Depot t-shirt, like one of the most legendary internet pictures. And it's like Jayson Williams. This guy came in throwing every behind the back pass in the world. He eventually made his way to the Grizzlies, where Hubie Brown said, you should throw normal passes. And that's how he basically remade his career to become a role-playing point guard. He was pretty solid for the Heat, but very weird to look at that team and see that both Jayson Williams and Antoine Walker got a title off the Heat. Why not?
Yeah, that's very, very good. Good ones there. Let's hear from you guys. Tweet at us at NoDunksInc, or let us know in the YouTube comments some of your craziest, unlikeliest champions, really. I guess Jeremy Lin on the Raptors is going to be a weird one, 20 years from now. You're like, oh, yeah, he was on the Raps, but because you remember Linsanity and what he did, and ended up picking up a title. Maybe he's coming back, as we talked about. Who knows? All right.
How old is he? That's what we need.
How old is Jeremy Lin right now?
Yeah.
32.
33 is my guess. He's probably not even that old.
So he's right in the middle there of who did you say? Nick Young, and who's the other guy?
Adam Morrison.
Oh, no, they're older, yeah. Anyway, move on.
Okay. I thought you were going to tell me how old Jeremy Lin is. Now I need to know.
32. He's
32.
Wow.
Okay, good call. Wow. Good call. All right, one more here. Hey, No Dunkers, with Michael Jordan now owning a NASCAR team, would you all want to see another MJ documentary titled The Next Dance that goes behind the scenes of his first NASCAR season? I personally think it would be entertaining to watch MJ be disgusted whenever his team finished second, or talk tons of trash to the other teams and berate other drivers for bumping his car even in the slightest. Also, do you think the NBA will ever have a show that follows a team during training camp like Hard Knocks on HBO does for the NFL? And what teams would you most want to see featured? I would have loved to have seen a Jim Boylan-led training camp with the Bulls last year. Thanks for being the best podcasters and manscapers in the game. That's from Drew in Michigan. So a couple questions there, Trey. You got the MJ angle with the NASCAR team, and then you got the possibility of whether or not the NBA would ever do a Hard Knocks and which team you'd want to see. What do you think?
Sign me up for this MJ NASCAR series. My first inclination is no way I would watch a series about NASCAR. And then I think, wait, man, you watched 2 whole series about F1 racing, and now you're waking up to watch them race in Russia on Sunday.
Yep.
I can't wait for it. So, yeah, if you're going to do a Michael Jordan one where he's in NASCAR, that's probably the only way I'm really going to get into NASCAR. But at the very least, I'm going to get one of these jackets whenever they come out with them. Be looking like a rapper from the late 1990s, early 2000s in a NASCAR jacket, some weird ads on it. I'm sure there will be a Jumpman at some point, but it's going to be the hottest item out there pretty soon, I would think. As for a Hard Knocks styled thing, they used to have that, right? They used to do something called the Association.
Yes.
Difference was that it was on standard broadcast television rather than HBO. So it was pretty neutered. You would have to do it on HBO so you can get people actually cussing and, just showing us their real selves rather than the sanitized version that the league's going to want to show you. I think a Trailblazers one would be pretty interesting. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, both interesting guys who are very camera friendly. You would have, if they're able to bring Melo back, you would have that sort of redemption arc of his career. Nurkic is a pretty funny guy. Gary Trent Jr., very handsome. They've got all the pieces for a solid series.
Yeah, the problem is, I would say, trying to compare like an NBA Hard Knocks with an NFL Hard Knocks is, I've watched a decent amount of those Hard Knocks seasons, and they're awesome. But a lot of the drama lies in, is this guy going to make the team? Right? Because, yeah, they sort of sometimes focus on some of the star players, and you see the behind the scenes, and that's all great, and you could still do all that. And we have that. I know the Raptors do a phenomenal job of that. With some of the production that they do and in like hanging out with these guys and stuff. But you don't really have that, Lee, in the NBA as much of like, hey, does it matter at all that much of like whether the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th guys, like, are these guys going to make the cut or are they not? Where in football that they do an unbelievable job of maybe making that drama even more important than it is. But for some reason, I don't know. I just don't see that it wouldn't be there in the NBA. For that. But you'd have all the other stuff like Jay's talking about. Yeah, I
would guess a lot of that has to do with the fact there's only 12 to 15 players making an NBA team, and most of the top 5 or 6 pretty much you know who they are, and then the rest of the guys just kind of fill in the. Well,
I would say, basically going into every season, basically the 10 guys that are going to be on the team.
Right. That's
so
what I mean.
But very few spots.
Yeah. Whereas I don't know what positions you're talking about there in football, but I'm guessing there's a lot more competition for those running back and all that sort of stuff. But I think a fun one though would be now to see the way the Clippers season ended. To sort of go from where that started to, they had that crazy chemistry in the locker room early in the season where Montrezl Harrell was kind of calling out the team to the point where they were like still probably the favorite, close enough in the Western Conference at the start of the bubble to then blowing that 3-1 lead and just sort of seeing what it was like in the locker room after that game. I think there'd be a story there because obviously.
You see the eye rolls from all the guys. Paul George is talking. Yeah.
A little bit of sniping at each other as well there. And, that actually next season would probably be still pretty fascinating considering I think Paul George is the same as Kawhi, that they've only got 1 year left on their contract guaranteed where they have to stay. So next season could be quite interesting as well if things don't get off to a good start and, to see if this experiment where the Clippers went all in ends up blowing up in their face. It might. Maybe they end up, though, after one season of the chaos, they get actually on the same page and go on and win the championship. That'd be a pretty remarkable story too.
Yeah, I thought we'd get some more personal player footage from the bubble, not a slickly produced huge follow this team around because you can't have a lot of camera people in there. I don't know what our man John Scott from NBA TV is producing down there, but I just thought that players have nothing to do. They can't be with their families, so why aren't they on IG Live all the time? I was a little disappointed in that. I wanted a little bit more of that.
But they are, by all accounts, recording like a documentary, right? Down there in the bubble. I don't know who, if it's ESPN, the NBA TV, NBA themselves, like there will be, I think, something, a documentary series or whatever after the fact, right? That takes a long time, of course, to produce and we'll hopefully see, I think. Right.
Yeah. But like my hands the last 6 months, it's going to be sanitized, right?
That's the thing is that it's coming out via the league or a broadcast partner. It's going to be the family friendly stuff. And that's actually the thing that's more amazing with Hard Knocks is that the NFL is just as image conscious as any other league out there, maybe even more so. And they're willing to put this out there and have their coaches and all these players look not exactly how you would anticipate, but actually what people are really like in real life. It would be awesome if the NBA would do the same. I don't see it happening anytime soon, though.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, so great questions there. Keep them coming. NoDunks@theathletic.com or tweet them in at NoDunksInc for all of these shows here throughout the remaining playoffs and, of course, our specific mailbag-only episodes, Beach Step In. Let's take one more quick break. Okay, it's time for Tweet of the Night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
Got a couple for you here, two for the price of one twit. First one from Shad Alayan. Celtics getting cooked by 11 from Stranger Things. Tyler Herro in his Wisconsin high school days.
So like 2 years ago or something was that.
Yeah, probably more like 5.
Yeah. He's like, 14 or 15 maybe? Wow.
Yeah.
But when he started growing his goatee, started right there. Just came in with those 8 hairs.
Absolutely not far off, though. That is good stuff from Shad. Yeah, that's 11 right there. Although 11 has changed her look very much. Next one here. Jamel Hill. Since we're big Teen Wolf fans here, it's a hate relationship with Teen Wolf, but Solomon Hill, who never plays for the Miami Heat, checked in. Jamel Hill tweeted, "I knew as soon as Teen Wolf checked in, there was no way the Heat were going to lose tonight." Good stuff there from Jamel. Because Solomon Hill, a bit of a scraggly look there.
Is he still getting paid from that contract that he got basically after that series against the Raptors?
Yes,
I think so.
Sure.
Wow.
I think so.
Was that a Colangelo? No, I guess
that money is not going to the barber. I'll tell you that.
That was a Pacers contract, wasn't it? Or Pelly?
No, I thought
Pelicans. I think he was a Pacer.
Right. Yeah. Sorry,
the Raptors. I think
that's right.
He hit a few shots with the Pacers and got paid by the Pellies.
Yeah,
and he was part of the Andre Iguodala trade where he landed with Jay Crowder. They got 3 parts, and now he's playing playoff minutes, but they didn't bring him. Didn't bring him back in the second half.
And who's the Teen Wolf guy that you love, Lee, that we all hate?
Styles.
Oh,
Styles Stalinsky.
Yeah. Yes. Who's the Styles Stalinsky of the bubble?
That's a very good question, because I mean, he was like a mover and groover, you know, he liked the attention. I mean, Pat Riley gets things done, but he doesn't have that same persona as Styles, you know, he does it all on the slide.
Yeah, he's also an old man.
I know. I'm trying to
Give me Michael Porter Jr. He could be a Styles.
Oh, I don't mind that.
Yeah, I don't know. He was a bit more controversial though, Michael Porter Jr. Styles was a man of the people.
Oh my God. You think Michael Porter Jr. is more controversial than Styles?
I don't think he's a man of the people though, Michael Porter Jr. I think he's sort of keeps to himself. Styles is out there, man. He's amongst it.
All right. Well, you just keep thinking about it while we start to wrap this up, because we've got another game on tonight. We're back to the 1 game a night flow here. It's back to the Western Conference Finals, and it is game 4. Lakers, as we've talked about. Oh boy, they're in a tough spot here, because you either win this one if you're the Lakers, you're up 3-1, and then the Nuggets are happy and they'll storm back, or you throw it, Trey, and you go to 2-2 and take your chances in a best-of-3 series. But what's one thing you're watching for here in Game 4 tonight of the West Finals?
That's exactly it, Skeets. As the No Dunks memes page on Instagram created, it's the Lakers dilemma. Do we go up 3-1 where the Nuggets have won all of their series, or do we straight up let them tie it 2-2? They're in a no-win situation right here, because if they win, they immediately lose, and if they lose, the other team wins. Wow, this is crazy. But if you're really looking at the series, the Nuggets have basically played the Lakers even since game 1, right? It was definitely a change in series that threw the Nuggets off, but Murray and Jokic have shown up for each and every game, and when your 2 superstars are able to play well, that's right, 2 superstars, when they're both showing up, you've got a chance. And, you know, the Nuggets have a chance. The problem will be that I'm expecting a huge game from LeBron James tonight. He was chilling, at least in the first half of game 3. People were saying he was washed. People were saying maybe he's injured. And then, of course, he did some stuff in the 4th quarter. So we'll see if he's hurt or injured tonight, or if he's just the standard great player that he always is. But things are pretty even out west, even though, you know, it definitely felt like the series could have been over after the first couple of games.
Yeah, okay. Lee, what are you watching for tonight?
To see if the Lakers try to do something to get basically under Jamal Murray's skin. And maybe that's Rondo, that guy, because Jamal Murray, I mean, he cooked him in that 4th quarter down the stretch, and we've seen him do that multiple times in the playoffs. Now he's got his confidence up. I think Jamal Murray's going to be feeling pretty good. So I wonder if the Lakers are like, all right, let's get onto this guy and make sure that he can't do it, because if you are relying on Monte Morris and Michael Porter Jr. to hit those baskets, that's okay for Denver. But if Jamal Murray has a big game, then I think the Nuggets know they can win the game. So I think they're going to try to get just up in his grill from the start, make it a bit of an uncomfortable game for him, because we've seen it, man. When he gets hot, he's unbelievable in the bubble down there. So let's see what the Lakers do. See, I don't think the Nuggets would mind that. I mean, he's not going to do that from the entire game.
No.
And Jamal Murray, I mean, he's quick. He can get his shot off. And you know, LeBron's a brilliant defender, no question about that. But Jamal Murray, I think his speed and his ability to he's so herky-jerky. he never sort of just goes one way. He's always fidgeting and moving around. So I think Jamal Murray would be okay with that matchup at the start.
Kind of like Styles, huh? He's a herky-jerky guy. Never just deals with what he's supposed to be dealing with. There he is. He's a problem. That guy's a problem. like in the negative sense.
Was a problem.
Styles Stalinski was a walking bucket.
He's a walking dick nose.
We need to make that one of our t-shirts.
What are you looking at? We got a lot of t-shirts.
What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Dunk nose.
What are you looking at? Dunk nose.
That'll take off.
We already talked about that. Yeah, people would buy those. Tass, anything to add for tonight's game? Anything you're watching specifically?
Well, Anthony Davis setting the tone from the beginning is the most important, I think, for the Lakers, because they got out superstarred. The superstars got outplayed by the Nugget superstars in game 3 there, and it's up to the Lakers' 2 stars to set the tone, and then everybody else falls in line, and they were not that in game 3. That's all right for them to have an off game, but I expect them to come back fighting, as most teams do after losing a game. So looking forward to the whole roster playing for the Lakers in game 4. We'll see if they can do it, because otherwise the Nuggets fill that void, boom, and they could be 2-2 very easily.
What's the tip time on tonight's game? I forgot to look. What are we looking at?
9 o'clock.
Is it a niner?
It's going to be a long night.
Could be a long night. Stock up on your energy.
9 o'clock, yeah.
Okay, great. 9 o'clock tip, East Coast time, 6 o'clock Pacific time for all of you out there. Should be fun. Hope for another close game. We'll be back tomorrow, of course, to break it all down and talk about it in detail. Let me know if I have this right, guys. At 1 o'clock Eastern today, Lee, on your Instagram account, you're going to be talking to @TalkHoops, Zach Harper. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
And then Tass, on the No Dunks Instagram account, you're going to be talking to Grizzlies forward Jaren Jackson Jr.
Actually, no, I'm going to be talking to Jaren Jackson Jr. on Jerry Ferrara's Instagram.
Tass,
no, you got it right.
Jesus,
you got it right. On No Dunks account.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry to be a reptile or
Eastern
a turtle.
Time. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
You've got fish, I know, in your house. You're going to be adding a turtle soon?
I love that band.
Jerry and Gary.
Yeah, turtle. Nah, I'm not into turtles. Are you?
I used to have turtles. I've talked about them, but no, they're not all that interesting. Better, you know what though? They're better than fish.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, fish are boring. I don't like
turtles or fish.
I'm not a huge aquarium guy as it is. Let's be honest. Email us your questions and comments for the next Beach Steppin' podcast. Grab yourself some sweet No Dunks t-shirts before we make another 10 of them, because we got a lot of ideas. Dick noses. Go to nodunks.com. And if you haven't already, subscribe to The Athletic. Tell them we sent you. Go to theathletic.com/nodunks and sign up for $1 a month. That is ridiculous. And if you are an American citizen, make sure you are registered to vote. Happy Hoopers Voter Day. Hoopers Vote Day, I guess is what it is technically, if I have that right. So go make sure you're registered to vote for sure. Clipper Bros?
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, fish are better than turtles? No. Turtles are better than fish. You know what? It's a wash. Both not too interesting.
Embrace the day, people.